Hi, I'm Dr. Caroline Leaf, and welcome to my podcast, Cleaning Up the Mental Mess. Well, today I'm going to talk about something that has helped me so much, and it's something that we actually did a post on as well, and we had such a great response. I decided that this is something we need to talk about, and that is tips to stop fights before they begin. So if you know there's going to be a situation that could potentially land up as an argument or in a fight, whether it's a high-level one or a low-level one, whatever, on a continuum. So think about maybe with a partner, in a relationship, with maybe a friend, maybe a business colleague, maybe a family member or a whole family, or like holidays are a classic time when people get into fights. And if you know there's going to be fights, here's some tips for that too. Maybe a business discussion. Maybe there's a really heated thing going on in your business and there's a lot of disagreement around the concept. So you know the fight's going to happen. And so these are the kinds of situations potentially that you can identify your own or series of situations where you just know there's going to be a fight of some sort. So here's some tips that will help you. So I hope you're going to enjoy this. Okay, so first thing, approach the conflicts with curiosity. Ask yourself what's behind the anger. That is maybe in you, maybe in one other person, maybe in a multiple of other people, maybe in everyone in the situation, or maybe in one or two. But there's whether it's in you, another person, or everyone, or two or three people out of a group or something, because emotions are contagious and because emotions are coming from thoughts inside of our brain and our cells of our body, they're embodied, and in our gravitational field surrounding us, our biofield, they're real and they're generating energy. As long as you're alive, you're generating energy. So if you pull up on a toxic thought and you bring that into the situation, which is what is happening if there's the potential for a fight, there's the toxic version that you come into that conversation with, that thought is activated from the non-conscious into the conscious mind, and all the resultant biofield, gravitational fields, response in your cells, response in your body, the embodied emotion, if all of that starts generating toxic energy into the situation. So even before you've started speaking, the potential is there for an explosion. And, it's kind of like if you throw petrol on the gas on the ground or something, and then you light, and there's a long string, and you've soaked it in some kind of fuel or something, and you light it, even if it's miles away, it's going along, and suddenly there's a big explosion. That's kind of what can happen if we don't go into fights prepared, where we know there's going to be conflict. That little light is already traveling along that piece of wire or whatever, and it's going to explode at some point, or that piece of cloth or that piece of string or whatever it may be. And as calm as you try and go into that situation, boom, the explosion is going to happen. And then that tends to lead to, just more chaos. So this is Cleaning Up the Mental Mess, this podcast. So I'm trying to help in every way possible, including myself. So I really benefit from my own podcast, just in case you are wondering. All right, so approach the conflict with curiosity. So say to yourself, okay, I'm about to go into a meeting, or I'm about to go into a conversation with someone, or I'm about to go into this family event, and I know that we tend to fight about this situation. Why? You could do a quick neurocycle. Think of the situation, name it, write it in the middle of a piece of paper, or just name it, gather awareness of how it's making you feel in your emotions, in your body. What is it making you want to say and do? What did you last time that you were in that situation? What did you say and do? How did you react? In other words, your behaviors. And what was your perspective? This person will never change. This is a waste of time. We can't get this done. Whatever. Gather awareness of those. Acknowledge that. And then say, okay, why? Why am I feeling this way? Or why does this tend to generate that conflict? Is it a particular person? Is it myself? What is it in myself? What is it about this situation? Is it the people? Is it the situation? What is triggering this? Why is this happening? Be curious. Not coming with it's almost impossible not to, but try to not come with your bias. Try to stand back and use that multiple perspective advantage that I talk about, where you stand back and observe as though you're an observer. Why is there this conflict situation? And then write that down. Okay, write down. You can even write down, the four signals, what you gathered aware of, your emotions and your body perspective, etc., your behaviors, what you're saying and doing. but specifically write down the whys and then look at what you've written and say, okay, well, if this is the whys, what does this mean? What's the pattern? What could I do differently? That's the fourth step, the recheck of the neurocycle that I've just been doing. And then what's your action? What could you do? What action does that curiosity lead to? So I've just described a neurocycle, and a neurocycle for being curious is one of the first ways that you can go into a fight. You can do that neurocycle in 1 minute, 5 minutes. This is not one of the ones you have to do over 63 days, although if the fight keeps occurring and it's the same, you may have to do that neurocycle for 63 days to get yourself out of the habit of reacting to certain people in certain ways. So you can decide how that fits best for you. Okay, so then another way is the second tip is view the conflict as us against the problem, not me versus you. Okay, this is really, really important. Okay, so it's not me against you. Think of the person that you're fighting with or about to have a fight with, or the persons, I should say. That was a grammar error there. And think of it as not against them personally, but against this issue that is a bone of contention that is coming up. See it as, and just quick sidebar here, if it is a series of issues that comes up and there's patterns that have been set up around conflicting issues, then the pattern of how you handle conflict is maybe what needs to be addressed, because there's always going to be disagreements in families. It doesn't mean if you solve one, or in business, or in relationships, whatever, it doesn't mean if you solve one, it's not going to happen again. Let's be realistic. There's always going to be something. So if there's a certain pattern that's happening, there may be levels of addressing that needs to be addressed. So dealing with this concept of viewing us against the problem, not me versus you, get the me versus you out and isolate, stand back and talk about the problem that is at issue here. And if there's a personal issue, a personal feeling attached to that a person feels like it's attacking them, like maybe you feel like you being attacked personally, or that person feels they're being attacked, or something about them has gone beyond the problem but gone into a feeling that they're being attacked personally, then it's good to speak about that. So when we talk about this, it feels like this is what you are, you're attacking me. So I can't get beyond the problem because it feels like you're attacking me as a person because of X, Y, Z. Something like that. So to get that issue separated from the person, but also to acknowledge if that person is feeling they're being attacked, to give them a chance to be able to speak about that if it's you or the other person or persons. So to always try and say, okay, well, sorry if you felt like that. Let's take the issue. What is the actual problem that we're discussing? And let's discuss it in a different way, or deal with it in a different way so it doesn't feel like a personal attack. Third thing, practice the 10-second pause. Before saying anything, pause and breathe for 10 seconds. And you can repeat the 10 seconds as much as you like. You've heard me tell you about this before, and I'll remind you again. Breathe in for 3, deep breath. 2, 3, and then push it out for 7 count. If you don't want to do it that loud, and that obviously, you can do it quietly like that. But try and count to 10 in your head. 3 in, 7 out. And if that's enough, great, move on. Otherwise, do it as many times as you need to. 60 to 90 seconds, as I've said before, is a great way of calming down your neurophysiology. Okay, and next thing, remember it's okay to walk away and calm down and reset. You don't need to solve everything immediately. So the 10-second pause hasn't calmed everyone down. If people are very heated because it feels like it's personal, and it's just they're not getting beyond that personal attack on the person versus the situation, then what needs to be done is walk away, reset, set it for another time. If it's an urgent thing that has to be solved, well, arguing about it for the next whatever is not going to help. Set a time to look at this has to be solved in the next 24 hours, so let's talk about this tomorrow at this time, or we have to solve in the next hour. Okay, let's give ourselves 30 minutes and come back. Give yourself, those kind of time frames, and then separate. Don't carry on talking, don't do but and chase each other with words. Stop talking. Move away, do something else. Channel that toxic stress into something else, something physical, a walk or work or whatever, and then reset, come back. Not everything will be solved immediately, and that's okay. Give yourself grace that sometimes you need layers and layers. Sometimes you may have to push a deadline out if it's possible in order to get the best solution, because otherwise in anger and fights, the wrong decisions are going to be made, and misunderstandings, miscommunications, all kinds of things are going to happen. Okay, fifth one. use statements like, I understand. People really need to be understood. It's one of our most basic needs as a human is, me, Caroline, I want to be heard. I want my point of view to be heard. I want you to see me and what I'm saying. Okay? That goes for everyone. Even if a person's being, in your mind, completely unreasonable, there's something that they feel that they're not being heard about. And sometimes just saying something like, I understand. Breathe, understand, nothing else. And let them talk it through. And then you can come back in. But just showing, okay, I understand. I understand this is hard for you. I understand you need to say this. I understand. Even if you don't understand, what you can understand is that that person is experiencing something. And by you fighting back, or you as a group or persons, it's going to add fuel to the fire. It's going to make all this toxic emotion, which are very real quantum fields, just make things worse. Okay? So another statement you can use is, let me think about that. I'd like to think about that. I'd like to think about what you're saying and see, where I misunderstood, or where we misunderstood, or where miscommunication potentially happened. Let me think about that. Great statement to use. And then another one, you may be right. And you may not even feel that. But by just saying you may be right, you're showing empathy, you're opening your mind and their mind to the possibility that, okay, hey, they're hearing me, or there's another way of looking at it, or they're prepared to even consider my point of view. I don't feel like shut down. It's just, and they may not be right, and you may be right, and you may be wrong, and they may not be right, whatever. But it opens the door for communication and getting those emotions and the neurophysiology and the quantum field that is generating calmed down. So in sum, tips to stop fights before they begin. Number 1, approach the conflict with curiosity. Ask yourself, what's behind the anger? Do a neurocycle to do this. View the conflict as us against the problem, not me against you. If you need to do a neurocycle to help you to work that out, do it. Neurocycles help you work things out. Neurocycles are how you think through things and change the neuroplasticity and get an action step. Okay. 3, practice the 10-second pause to calm your neurophysiology down. And you can repeat it, the 10-second pause, as many times as you need. 4, remember it's okay to walk away, to calm down and reset. You don't need to solve everything immediately. 5, use statements like, I understand. Let me think about that. You may be right. There's lots of other statements, but those are 3 great ones that can help. Hope you've enjoyed this. I hope this helps you. Let me know if you've managed to deal with conflict and how it's helped you, and if you want more podcasts like this. Thanks so much. See you next time.